hipsters, flipsters, and finger-popping daddies and groovy chicks. Welcome to the Jazz Ranch. We're in the woodshed here, and it's soundproof, so nobody can hear us. We can practice all night. We love that. And lesson is going to be about comping. Now, comping is very important to a pianist or a guitarist. In other words, to accompany either a singer, a horn player, whatever, a band, play in a band, and be able to comp in rhythm and have a good rhythm. So that's all about, jazz comping is about syncopation and so on, and about positioning of your hands and various voicings. Now, I'm going to be talking about how to position your hands for comping in 3 different positions, and how to use comping to back up a band, to back up a singer, whatever. And that's just an important role for a pianist and a guitarist. So here we go into Comping 101. I'd like to mention, starting out here, that this was a request that I had to show how I comp and to talk a little bit about comping. And so I want to first off say there's 3 positions that generally I use, and then there's some variations of those. But I'm going to break it down to 3 positions. I'm going to show you the 3 positions, then I'm going to take one at a time and demonstrate it on the song Don't Blame Me. Now, Don't Blame Me sounds like this. And so on. So let's take just the first couple of measures. So now the spread voicing is the first position. Now on a spread voicing we have the root, and then maybe the 5th or the 7th, and then some harmonies filling it out in the right hand. So it could be that, or it could be like that, or whatever. In other words, I'm usually looking for at least 4 notes or 5 notes. So that might be the first voicing there. And the second voicing I might go to here. That's a B flat 13. Then this next voicing is an A13. So that's the 13th there. That's the 13th scale note up from the bottom here. Same thing here. Now notice that it's spread out. So the configuration is root, flat 7, 3rd, there's the 13th, and there's the root again on the top. So that's the first position. The second position now, I put all of the chord in the right hand and just the bass note in the left hand. I call this sort of the accompanying position because it's good for accompanying other musicians or a singer if you don't have a bass player, because it allows the left hand to play a bass line like that. So that frees up the left hand, doesn't have to play the harmony, it's just going to play a bass line. And that's a good one to use and to learn for pianists. Particularly, there's maybe a lot of situations where you're playing either solo or there's no bass player and you have to accompany other people. So now you can play bass lines in the left hand and have the right hand play the harmonies. So for the first chord, I'm usually going to reposition that chord. A lot of times I'm going to position it in terms of the melody. The melody is da da da, so I'm going to position supporting the melody like that. So that's the second position. The third position is when I play rootless chords, or I invert the chord, the block chord up here in the left hand, and then I put harmonies in the right. So that would be like an example of like an upper extension chord, or like what I would call a rootless chord in the left hand, and then additional harmonies in the right. So it might sound like this, like that, or it might sound like this. So those are the 3 positions. Now we'll break them down and we'll show you the rhythms that I will use. Okay, I'm going to break it down now from the first position which I demonstrated, which is the spread voicing, and the rhythms now. So essentially the rhythms are going to be combinations, mixed combinations. There's no set rule unless it's a vamp. A vamp is a repeating pattern, but if it's sort of random, then there's the options of using long tones or short tones. In other words, long tone, long chord, you're holding it, or short, like this, short. And there's combinations of on the beat, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, or any combination like that. And then there's combinations of off the beat, like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3. So in other words, so now we mix that up. So we might have 1 and 2 and 3, 4, like 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3. That's a type of rhythm. Now, it's usually mixed up in a variety of ways, but it's also has a lot to do with what the melody is and whether you want to complement the melody in terms of the melody's rhythm or you want to play against it. It's sort of like if I've just only way I can demonstrate this is show you the melody here and then play a chord here. But like if you had this, see, that's playing against the melody. Now playing with it would be, that's obvious, right? So those are the possible rhythmic things that you want to think about. So now, so playing this position, I might play, and I'm going to play, and you have to imagine and you're hearing in your head, you're hearing that melody like da 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 ba da da. But excuse my singing, but that's the idea. You want to hear the melody in your head. Now let's listen to how the voicings sound, and let's playing them rhythmically. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course, it takes the knowledge of voicings and so on, and I put some other things in there. But let's just think simple now about the rhythm. So like you might do something to start out, just something simple, like a repeating vamp figure, like that kind of thing. So that's the first position, and playing some rhythms. Let's look at the second one now. On the second position now, you know the left hand is free to play the bass line. So that would mean I would take this voicing, which is my first voicing, or was this actually. Now I would take this note out of the left hand and pick it up with the right hand, and I would take this note in the left hand and put it down an octave. So now I'd have, or I can keep it there, but now it would sound like this. So now rhythmically I might do something like so now this, I am playing within the chord, I'm playing some lines. So that's one of my tips, is you don't always need to just play the chord straight out, right? You can play, and this takes some harmonic knowledge as well, but first thing I want you to do is just try to play this technique in a simple way, with the bass note being supported with the left hand here, like maybe something like this. Okay, so that's very simple. Now, eventually you want to be able to free up the left hand so it plays a bass line, like. Okay, so that's the second technique. So now I can comp like this. Like that. So now the left hand now can play either in a 2-beat or just create more depth in the sound of the chord by playing bass notes. Even down octave down lower will sound nice like this. Notice that the rhythm now that I'm playing is a combination of those upbeats and offbeats, so it's a syncopated rhythm. It's not just a boring thing like that. It's a mix of upbeats, offbeats, downbeats, short and long. Now, you have to hear the melody in your head, or you have to support what the horn player or the singer is doing. Often playing in the spaces in between, particularly if it's a melody you know, and you know there's space where they're holding a note, you can put a comp in there, an interesting comp, or a fill even. Now we'll move on to the third position. I realized that I could do one tutorial on just one of these positions and go into it in more depth, but I want this to be an overview so you see that there are 3 positions, and you see that they can be played over the same song and they have their own distinct sound. Now the third one would be where now, like where I'm moving up to an inversion in the left hand. It's a rootless chord. There's a rootless. That's a C6-9, 3-6-9. Then I put the melody up, or the add maybe usually octaves and maybe a harmony note like this. So now rhythmically, same thing. This actually is the most complicated or modern sounding of the three combinations, but you want to be proficient at both. So you need to really know your chords and your voicings to even get a start on this. And I have a lot of tutorials on those that you could study before you get to this point. But mainly I want to talk about what it looks like, the comp, and what it sounds like. Now, we don't hear the melody. I need another person here or someone singing to hear it, but you're hearing it in your head like, and excuse my singing, but like da 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 ba da ba da da ba da ba do da 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 ba do da. Now see those hits that I'm making in the comping above that fall in ahead of the beat, those are supporting a rhythmic idea in which the melody would fall ahead of the beat, like da ba da da ba 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 da da ba, like that. So I support the melody. You can support it or you can play against it, or you can play in the spaces in between it. And that's an important issue of comping. But the idea now is to get down these three positions and to get proficient at voicing them very slowly, maybe even ballad style, and then begin to take just a simple slow tune with not a lot of chords, maybe just a vamp tune or something like Summertime. But Don't Blame Me for this example, and then try playing these three positions. Again, I'll review them. Another good suggestion, if you want to get better at comping, is to maybe pick up one of the Jamie Aebersold recordings. They're play-along records in which you can listen to the rhythm section, you can listen to the piano player, how he's comping. And then you can cut that channel out, and then you can practice comping with a bass player and a drummer. That will get your time solid and will improve your comping. The other thing is to get a metronome and set it on 2 and 4 like this. So here we go now with the metronome, using it on 2 and 4 in the spread voicing position. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now let's take it the same thing and go into position 2. Now this time I'm going to play a little bit of a bass line. That's that one. Now the third position, the rootless or upper extensions. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there you go. Signing off from the Jazz Ranch. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I want to give you a little shout out on my book. This is my book called Jazz Piano, Methods and Songbook for Professional Playing. I've sold thousands of copies. I have a special sale going on right now. If you buy my book, you'll get my 140-page appendix of exercises for free. All you have to do is order my book through my website and then write to me. And my email address is below, and I will send that to you directly to your email. So please check out the videos I've made on both books so you can see everything that's inside them. Where can you go and see a complete inside of a book on a video? Only here at the Jazz Ranch. So thanks for tuning in today. please give me a comment. I love to hear from you. I always answer all comments. You'll see that I do answer all comments if you give me enough time. And until next time, in the words of my great friend upstairs, Hermie Dressel, I'll say, swing loose. We'll see you next time around. Be cool. Bye-bye.